It's the most costliest time of the year. What's going on, Facebook? It's Hamp Lee III with Spiritual Combatants coming back at you with another message on the most costliest time of the year. And oftentimes from Thanksgiving, we have Black Friday, and they start a little early on Thursdays, all the way until Christmas and even beyond. We're in a binge of spending and eating. And it's a really concerning time for us because we're spending a lot of money that we don't have for people that aren't thinking about us or may not even care about us. I don't know. I've had that pressure. It feels like this pressure on you to buy people stuff. People you haven't talked to all year. You're buying different gifts and spending all this money on folks. And I felt like that probably a couple years into my marriage. And so this one year in particular, we're buying stuff for different family members and friends and people I literally haven't seen. We have cards and little grab bags and all this other stuff. And so I tell my wife that I want to get a sound system at some point, like a home entertainment system. And so I go to the department store and they have this separate area in a separate building. I go in there. They had like every electronic item like 75, 90% off. It was the greatest sale I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen anything like that. So what happened to I'll get something in the future became I need to get this right now. I mean, I bought these giant 8-inch speaker woofers. They had Kenwoods. I just gave those away maybe a few weeks ago. I mean, I've had it for years and everything has been really solid, but I spent $1,200 and it probably cost about $4,000 total, but that was $1,200 that I didn't have at that time. And of course you charge it. And in those days, I would pay the minimum amount. And as you may know, some of you that may do that, you know that the interest is often the same price or the same charge as that minimum cost that you're putting down. So all year long, your bill is just hovering at the same point. So then by the time you get to the next Christmas, you're still paying on last Christmas. You don't know where that stuff is at. It's either in a box or thrown away. Now you're about to buy more stuff so people can have another all-star Christmas. And so I got to this place where after that year, I said, look, I talked to Tanya. I said, look, talk to her, Tanya, my wife, and my daughter, Dominique. I said, look, every day is Christmas as far as I'm concerned from here on out. We are not going to spend all this money on just one day because I'm like, look, what's a birthday or what's Christmas? It's a day. To me personally, yeah, we say it's a reflection of Christ, and there's some reports or some thoughts that Christ was born in the summertime. But hey, that's neither here nor there. I don't care when he was born. He was born and he lived and died for my sins. That's all I need to know. But yeah, it's this time of remembrance and things, but it's a time for people to spend money. And it's created, it seems like it's this created holiday, even Thanksgiving, it's this created day. Yeah, we can say we give thanks, but think about the amount of money that's being generated total across the country and within your household. That's a lot of money. And so we get to this place where we get this frenzy and we get driven by emotion. When I went down to Walmart to buy a couple of items just before the Black Friday on Thursday, and they had 5 police cars and a motorcycle there. And man, I was brokenhearted. I was like, why do we have to have a police presence just to buy stuff? Just for stuff. And so I wanted to get in there as fast as I could. And I saw people walking in the store. They had stuff wrapped up in the aisles where you couldn't touch it. But people were just walking around really slow because they wanted to be in the store when 6 o'clock kicked off so they can be the first ones to grab something. But that shouldn't be our focus. And we get to the place where our focus is buying stuff for people and we lose sight of some of the other things. And so going back to what we did in our situation, so we got to a place where we stopped buying so much stuff for Christmas. Now, my daughter's birthday is very close to Christmas, so typically I would ask her what she wanted, and I try not to put that on her. So I'd say, hey, look, it's Happy Christmas or Merry Birthday. Which one you got? I think this year is Merry Birthday. I'm not really sure. But she would just say, hey, I just want this one thing. She was never really a needy child. And she would just say, hey, I just want one particular item. And it was like that for several years. I just want this. And I was like, okay, we'll get it somewhere in the middle or maybe a birthday or for Christmas. But for my wife and I, a card will suffice. And even when I stopped buying gifts for friends and family members, nothing happened. I'm going to tell you, as a living witness, nothing happens. Everything's all good if you stop buying stuff for other people. you just keep going on. Just take care of your immediate family. Don't worry about spending a whole lot of money on me to be able just to say you bought me something. To me, it's just another day. My birthday, why do I need to buy something because it's my birthday? It's another day. And some people, even when you think about like Valentine's Day, I know I'm getting off a little subject here, but like Valentine's Day, there are some people that will be mad with their spouse if they don't come home with steak dinner or flowers or candy, knowing good and well you don't have any money to begin with. But yet you're putting a responsibility or this desire or this need and request on your spouse to produce something that you don't already have. And so just to say that you're happy that you have some flowers and some candy, now you're deeper in debt. Let's put our focus where it should be. Now that's on the natural. And so I took a lot of years to kind of get out of that. Right now, if you can just send me a card, I don't even need a card for my birthday or for Christmas. I don't need any of that stuff. It's another day. Every day is Christmas as far as I'm concerned. If you want it, then you need it, go get it. Don't worry about this day. I don't want to go into debt just to say that I pleased you or I gave you something that was appetizing to you or something that you desired. If you need it, you want it, go get it. And so we've been doing that for several years. And so I don't really go to Black Friday. Probably I can count on my two hands and have some spaces left in my lifetime how many times I've participated in Black Friday or Cyber Monday. They're going to have something for Tuesday to Thursday soon. Believe me. If they can get some more money out of us, they'll find a way to do it. Believe me, they will. That's why Black Friday now begins Thursday at 6 p.m. Soon it's going to be Thursday morning at 6 a.m. Get the early sale. Believe me, that's probably coming too. So we want to get to this place where we're not putting so much emphasis on what we're buying. And so for us, we wanted to get to maybe traditions. Maybe we want to give more on those days, especially like Thanksgiving. We want to give more. Or maybe we just set a limit on what we buy. Like, okay, for all the kids, we're going to just spend this amount of money. Or on ourselves. Or just say, I'm going to save money all year long so then I have that money to be able to spend, as opposed to going back deeper into debt and then you're spending years trying to pay off something just to say somebody was pleased and they're happy and they're running around and now a year later they probably don't even have that stuff anymore. And so in the Bible, let me go to Luke 12 and 13. There's someone in the company that says unto him, Master, speak to my brother that he divide the inheritance with me. And he says, Man, who made me a judge over you, or a judge or a divider over you? And he said, Take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life consisteth not in the abundance of the things he possesseth. And so often with Christmas and Thanksgiving, that's what we're focused on. We're focused on stuff. And our lives don't consist of that. Now the brother was already given, based on what we read, the brother was already given the inheritance. His parents already designated, or father already designated that the brother will receive the inheritance. He's trying to get a piece of that. He wants that, and he wants to get that. And he believes that Jesus, in his position of authority, may be able to give that to him. But Jesus says, Take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life consists not in the abundance of the things he possesses. So now he goes into a parable, and he talks about this rich man that brought forth plentifully. And so he said to himself, I don't have enough room for my stuff. I'm going to build a bigger barn. I'm just kind of paraphrasing just for time's sake. I'm going to pull down my barns and build greater ones, and then I'll have a place to bestow all my fruits and goods. And then he's going to say, okay, soul, thou have much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry. And that's what we learn within this American dream, to have as much stuff as you can so that you can be able to relax, eat, drink, and be merry. That's exactly what we go through. That's exactly what's been placed upon us, even across the Christmas and all that other stuff, just to have stuff so that you can relax. But he says here, but God said unto him, Thou fool, in verse 20, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then whose things be? Then whose shall those things be which thou hast provided? So is he that layeth treasure for himself and is not rich toward God. And so we want to get to a place where we're not rich toward ourselves, but we're rich toward God. And so he goes into a discourse, and then he turns to disciples, and he talks to them by saying to you, Take no thought for your life, which you shall eat, neither for the body, which you shall put on. For the life is more than meat, and the body is more than raiment. And he talks about the ravens and how God feeds them. And he says, How much more are ye better than the fowls? And then he goes a little bit further. let me read. He says, he says in verse 30, he says, for all these things do the nations seek of the world seek after, and your Father knoweth that you have need of these things. But rather seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. And he says, fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. See, for this man, the brother that was asking for the inheritance, there was no guarantee that he was going to get the inheritance. For us, when we are wanting and desiring things, and I want an all-star Christmas, but you only have enough for a Happy Meal. When you're going through all that stuff and you're desiring and wanting things, that's where people begin to steal and rob and do all these other things that may not be righteous or legal. That's when they get into that stuff. But he says, look, those things, well, Jesus is saying, look, it's the Father's pleasure to give you those things, to give you the kingdom. Everybody can have the kingdom. You may not be able to get extra stuff. Yeah, somebody wants a BMW or some crib's house, but it's the Father's pleasure to give you the kingdom. Everybody. But you have to be rich toward God. And he says in verse 34, he says, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And then he goes a little bit further on, and he speaks to them about the kingdom. And so about how to be rich toward God. Let me try to find that for you. And being rich toward God. I think I may have read a little bit over that. And he says in verse 33, In verse 33 he says, sell that ye have and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupts. So now he's telling them how to have riches toward God. He's talking about selling what you have. Don't put any emphasis on all this stuff and possessions. Give. If you want to be rich toward God, give. Sell what you have and give alms. And in First Peter, let me go to 1 Peter. In 1 Peter 6 and 17, Paul is telling Timothy, he says, charge them that are rich in this world, that they not be high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches. These things that we're reaching after and we want for Christmas and all these possessions, all that stuff is uncertain. But there is one thing that is certain. But in the living God, who gives us richly all things to enjoy, that they do good, that they be rich in good works, ready to distribute, willing to communicate, laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, that they may lay hold on eternal life. So what is that? What is that thing? And so and Jesus talks about this in Matthew 25. Matthew 25:31, he says, when the Son of Man shall come in his glory and all the holy angels with him, then he will sit on the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as sheep divideth his sheep from the goats. As a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then the king shall say unto them on his right hand, come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me meat. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came unto me. Then the righteous shall answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and fed thee, or thirsty and gave thee drink, and saw you as a stranger and took you in, or naked and clothed thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto the least of these brethren, ye have done it unto me. And Jesus, this is how we be rich toward God. When we begin to give, you see it's talking about I was hungry, you gave me meat. I was thirsty, you gave me drink. I was a stranger, you took me in. Naked and you clothed me. I'm giving from my resources. As it's called, hashtag Giving Tuesday. That's today. That I'm giving out of what I have to give to those that are in need. And then when I was sick, I'm visiting the sick. And then when I'm in prison, you come unto me. That's how we be rich toward God. So instead of us building bigger barns and trying to create more stuff, and we already have a pair of black shoes or 5 pair of black shoes, but we want one more pair of black shoes or another jacket or something else that you already have, be rich toward God. Maybe look through your closet and take the time to give some of the things you have to someone that's in need. Maybe you can give maybe a meal. Sometimes we cook large meals during Thanksgiving and eat like nobody's business. Maybe we can take, instead of I'm going to eat every last crumb that I have, let me fix a few plates and then just drive around the city to give to those that may have a need. Maybe someone that's hungry, I see that they're hungry and they don't have a place to stay. Maybe I do open my doors of my home to them. Maybe I do something so that I can do that unto Jesus. For our lives does not consist in the possessions that we own. That's not just our lives. And we need to be focused, because none of us knows the day or the hour that the Lord is going to call us home. So we always want to be prepared. And when you read further into Luke 12, he goes into that. So we always want to be ready. And we want to be prepared to receive and be rich toward God. So I just want to encourage you today that you'll focus on not so much as possessions and having more stuff, but being focused on the kingdom, and that your life is so precious to God, and he wants to give you the kingdom. He wants it to be yours, but you also want it to be your desire, and you'll be rich from God. So may God bless you and keep you on this day. God bless.